David Serlanik is the Alachua County Engineer and Assistant Public Works Director for Engineering and Operations. He has been in this position for 6 years. Before that, Mr. Serlanik held a position with the Florida Department of Transportation for 14 years, where he performed research and testing on roadway construction materials. At the Alachua County Public Works Department, Mr. Serlanik manages the engineering, road and bridge, development review, and construction inspection sections for the Public Works Department. During his tenure with the county, he has been involved with revitalizing the county's pavement management program and has overseen various roadway maintenance functions and projects relating to pavement resurfacing, stormwater, and traffic operations. Welcome, Dave.
Glad to be here.
You know, we've had a lot of conversation in this community recently about taxes, how we compare to other counties, and what are the things that we do for the revenues that we generate. And one of the things that's certainly been a subject of that conversation is gas tax. And you know, we always talk about there are myths and there are realities, and one of the reasons we invited you here is we wanted to make sure that we had the realities kind of well grounded in the truth here. And let's focus on gas tax. Can you give us just an idea of the history of the gas tax in our area?
In the early 80s, there was pretty much the final point at which the gas taxes were pretty much stable for many years. There was 7 cents from local and 3 cents from the state for every gallon of gas given to the county to split with the municipalities for road type projects, whether it be for maintenance or for capital. In the late part of this last few years ago, somewhere in the June of 2000 area, the board approved an extra nickel local option gas tax, which was the first change since the early 80s in local funding from gas tax.
I see.
That gas tax went into effect in January of 2008. Now, one thing to point out about the gas taxes is that it does not change as the gas prices change. It is stable, and it has been stable. So in the early 80s, it paid for more. The inflation rates were a little bit lower. And another thing to really point out on this, that we need to really put really strong points on, is that the inflation of the gas tax, the revenues as they come in, have only gone up by about 1 to 2% a year, but inflation overall has gone up 3 to 5% per year.
Now, I think this is really important, and I want to make sure that I understand it and that our citizens understand this. When somebody complains because gasoline is hovering at $3 a gallon, it's been fluctuating pretty wildly in Florida for the last couple of months, but I hear people saying it's because of the gas tax. And what I just heard you say was, this is not an index tax. It doesn't get higher as the price of gasoline gets higher. So it's the same gas tax when gas was $2.30 a gallon a year or two ago as it is now, correct?
That's correct. That's how local funding works.
Because another thing I hear frequently is I can drive across the county line and get gas cheaper. And again, I hear it's because our gas taxes are so high. But if I'm hearing you correctly, when I look at the gas taxes in Marion County or Levy County, I believe they're identical to ours. Is that correct?
Marion County definitely is identical. Putnam County also has the same tax structure as Alachua County. The others have not implemented the local option tax as Alachua County has. Now, some of the others have other types of taxes to help pay for their road work.
Right.
However, Alachua County does not.
So the price of gasoline difference between Ocala and Gainesville is not a subject of the gas tax. Is that a correct statement?
That would be correct. Now, there are some speculations as to why. One of them may be competition. simple competition. There may be a little bit better competition in Marion County than in Alachua County as far as vendors. So it may go in different directions, but certainly it's not a result of our taxation.
How in general do we fare with the state of Florida and the other 67 counties in terms of the gas tax that we charge?
Of the 67, 20 have implemented all of the gas taxes. We are one of those 20. So in terms of the gas tax and how the county has used all of their available funding for roadway construction and roadway maintenance, we are one of those. Now, that doesn't bring into account the numbers that have implemented something like an infrastructure sales tax to help pay for road construction.
Right.
That brings the number quite a bit more. So again, as far as gas tax is concerned, we are right in line with most other counties.
Is gas tax the primary source of funding that we use to maintain our roads?
Predominantly, the gas tax is the source that we use for funding. We do have some other small funding sources to help us offset some of the burden. We are getting some general fund dollars to help pay off a financing for some roadway infrastructure projects. We have a little bit of the sales tax infrastructure financing to help us pay for some capital type projects. But predominantly, over and above everything else, the gas tax pays for all of our mowing, our motor grading, all of our pothole repairs, and all of our infrastructure.
Let's dig into the guts of it a little bit and talk about our roads. And first of all, how much road do we have in Alachua County that the county is responsible for?
We currently have around 680 miles of paved road and around 240 miles of unpaved road on the county's infrastructure. Now that 680 miles of paved road has approximately aged to the point of around 23 to 25 years. Now unfortunately, pavement really only has an expected life expectancy of 15 to 20 years. So again, our overall life of our infrastructure is getting beyond its useful life.
Right.
And each year we wait, the cost of doing construction to repair that infrastructure gets higher.
You've told me this before, but it always kind of surprised me. You have this comparison that you've told me before, and if you could let me know again how much it costs to repair a road when it should be repaired, I guess, for lack of a better term, and how much it costs if you wait to these certain other benchmarks or stages in it. Can you use it 1 mile and tell me what that is, the difference there?
On a good pavement management program, that would mean you're only taking off the top inch to inch and a half of asphalt where you still have good structural asphalt below that, and you replace it.
Right.
That is the most effective way of doing proper maintenance. Now that has to be done once every 15 or 20 years. And if you wait much longer than that, then you'll start seeing degradation of the structural asphalt, and that becomes more expensive because you're removing more asphalt or you're repairing more asphalt and you're replacing more asphalt. So in terms of proper repair, you're looking at somewhere between $300,000 to $500,000 per mile of a 2-lane road to do a good quality mill and resurface on a routine maintenance basis. Now, if you wait, that number could shoot up to well over $1 million per mile. So again, the numbers get pretty astronomical pretty quickly if we wait.
What is the dollar amount? I mean, or is there such a thing as what would it take to get our current road system, paved road system, back to where it needs to be on a regular schedule like that?
If we were to do a proactive program, certainly we would have to bring everything back up to standard, and we would look at maybe a 20-year time frame to do that. Now if we brought that in, we're looking at somewhere in the range of $380 million of backlog that we'd have to spread out over the 20-year span. Now if we can get that backlog in check over the next 20 years, we would only need somewhere in the range of $7 million, I believe, per year to keep up with the routine maintenance.
And how much do you have available to you now from the various sources? I understand that largest is the gas tax. How much do you have right now per year for road maintenance?
Right now, in terms of total maintenance, we have around $9 million, no, about $11 million,
Okay.
11.8 million. That's for everything. That includes routine maintenance. It includes all of our capital maintenance that we're paying off our debt. And it also includes our contribution to RTS for transit.
Right. So you can't catch up that way,
Currently,
obviously.
no, we would still continue to go behind with our current funding.
Right. And I know that the County Commission has been very involved in putting together a priority list of the projects that you all are tackling with the funds that you do have available. Are there, can we talk about some of the highlights of what we've been doing for the last several years? I know you've been involved in so many projects. Do you have them prioritized in terms of dramatic impact or actual impact?
Well, certainly we've done quite a bit. Since 2005, the County Commission has made some very bold steps to try and start tackling that backlog. Right. Now, we've been doing quite a bit of work to try and keep up with the backlog and do some damage, but again, it doesn't appear like we're keeping up. Even though we've made some major strides, we still continue to see a sign of aging infrastructure.
Right.
So in terms of that, we've done quite a few projects since 2005. We started with Northwest-Northeast 53rd Avenue. That was our first big project. Right. If anyone can recall, back in 2005, that was the worst road on the county's system. Mm-hmm. It ran from 441 all the way out to Waldo Road, yep. And it was in bad shape. So that was our first big project that we did, and we got it done very quickly and efficiently. We moved straight from there to Southwest 24th Avenue. That was a pretty major project. We took it from the Hogtown Creek over to Tower Road, and again, that was in very bad repair. We were able to get in there and do a good structural course and improve that particular facility. So once that was in effect, we started working on the bond projects. So we had some financing that gave us $33 million right up front to go out and do some bond projects.
And just for folks who aren't familiar with that, so basically you take some of your revenues, you borrow against them, you use them as a source to pay back these bonds, and that allows you to tackle a larger project than you otherwise would be able to do.
That's correct. That was correct. We basically took a $33 million initiative that we got the money up front, which made us have to pay back $3 million per year for 15 years.
Right.
Now, we were given $2 million in general fund to help pay for that. $1 million from the gas tax and $2 million from general fund. Now, unfortunately, over the last few years, we've had some economic hardships for the entire county, and we've felt that same brunt. So the $2 million has now come down to about $1.2 million, and with the new recent cuts, it may come down a little bit more. So we may end up around $1.1 million contribution from general fund to pay those debts. So the rest still has to be paid. Right. So it comes from gas tax. So that is a burden on our routine maintenance. So again, we're paying those bonds down, and it's going to take 15 years to pay them off. That won't go away. So again, we will have that on us.
I keep coming back to this because the County Commission certainly has this conversation about ultimately it seems the only way to really get a handle on these things is to have that dedicated source, and the only real tool that the state has given them for that is the local option sales tax. And the Commission is being very sensitive to the public right now in terms of this is not the year for that. But certainly in the future, if we're ever going to get our handle on these major things, that discussion, I'm sure, will continue to take place at the County Commission meetings. Right. So what did you do with the $33 million in that bond issue? Well,
we did quite a few major projects. We did Racetrack Road. We had to do that on a very quick timeline to beat the Gator Nationals that was coming into town. We were very successful in that particular project. We had several projects that, let me get my cheat sheet. We had several projects that involved some subdivisions.
That's good. You've done so many, you don't have them memorized yet. That's good.
We did Post Springs Road out by High Springs that took northwest 182nd Avenue all the way out to the county line. We finished out 20th Avenue. We took it from Hogtown Creek over to 34th Avenue, or 34th Street. Right. So we finished that one.
So that corridor is done all the way from 34th to Tower Road.
That's correct.
Yeah.
We also did Northwest 51st Street that tied from Northwest 23rd Avenue to Northwest 39th Avenue. And at the same time, we upgraded the signals and we put in a sidewalk. So that was a very effective project. Northwest 39th Avenue, the piece that the county maintains is the piece from I-75 all the way to 241. We added paved shoulders there, so now we've got the ability for the biking community to tie bike lanes all the way out to 241.
Right.
We also did a project out in Windsor, which is County Road 1474, that we actually did with our own crews. It was an experimental type of design because it was a full-depth reclamation. Now, it's used infrequently around the state, but it is used, and it's a very effective way of getting a much stronger base to put the pavement on. So
is that tearing it up completely?
It's completely mixing the entire roadway. So you take the asphalt and you mix it right into the base, and you roll it back down, and you've got a very strong, very sturdy base that you can put asphalt on.
Plus, you don't have all that material you have to dispose of.
That's right. There's no hauling, no cost for that, so it's all right there. So we're reusing that material right there.
So we have crews in-house that can actually lay road down, right?
We do have crews. They are being used predominantly for subdivision type work.
Certainly, yeah, they don't take place of the big road projects.
Right, so we've used them for shoulder work, we've used them for some resurfacing, and we've seen some effectiveness in being able to save quite a bit of money and still get a good quality product out of it.
I know I'm probably jumping ahead here, but I think we've had some crews in this general neighborhood, some projects right around downtown here. I know we had a section of Main Street, did we not? That was county responsibility?
That's correct. We did some work. We're going to do a little bit more work on Main Street. Our section, now Main Street's a little difficult to figure out who owns what, but the state is working on a section in downtown right now that's going on. They're doing a full reconstruction. They're tearing out some utilities and replacing those.
That's Depot to 8th Avenue?
That's correct.
And
the state of Florida is doing that
section. What was our section?
The county section goes from 8th Avenue north to Northwest 23rd Avenue. Okay. That section, we worked with the state on that. We were able to acquire some stimulus funding, and through the Stimulus Act, the American Recovery Reinvestment Act, we were able to get some money to do the resurfacing, and then we will come in and complete that project by finishing the resurfacing, upgrading the signals, and upgrading some of the multimodal and sidewalk improvements there.
Right. And I'm sorry, I took you away from your
Not
list
a problem.
there.
We've still got a couple left to go. We're currently under construction on Southwest 122nd Street from Archer Road up to Southwest 24th Avenue. Mm-hmm. That project's ongoing now, so
is that Parker Road?
Delays. That is Parker Road.
Parker Road, yeah.
That is Parker Road. And when we finish that project, we will have bike lanes that go all the way from Newberry Road to Archer Road on Parker Road, which is another good amenity for us. Right. We have Northwest 241, County Road 241, that takes us from the city of Alachua all the way north to the county line. That road is completed, and we added paved shoulders to that as well. So we've been doing quite a bit of work trying to get a little bit more amenities for our biking commuters and our community. And finally, we've got a few projects in the works. The design is complete, and we're working on trying to get through the final stages so we can get out to bid. Southeast County Road 325 that takes you from County Road 346 over to US 301 through Cross Creek. Mm-hmm. That one's coming up. And we also have Northwest Southwest 91st Street. It's been a very well advertised and talked about project.
Very active citizens in that area?
Very active, very good. It's been a very good project for us. We've been able to bring in a lot of good amenities to that project because of our citizen support.
Right, right.
So with that, that's that set of projects. And we have one other set of major projects. We have a couple of projects come through the sales tax, but the new local option gas tax that went in 2008. We have 5 projects that are designated for that funding source.
And what are those?
Right now we're working on design for Northwest 16th Avenue through Northwest 23rd Avenue. So it takes us from 13th Street all the way to 55th Street.
Some people don't realize that there are county roads that reside entirely in the city of Gainesville.
That's correct, and they're relatively large, well-traveled roads.
Right.
So again, they are a huge burden on maintenance, so we do need to keep up with those as well. In addition to the 16th Avenue project, we are looking at forwarding some money to finance two other projects right away. County Road 231 up from State Road 121, where it breaks off and it goes north near La Crosse. That is the county's roadway until it meets up with State Road 235 there. That one is in pretty bad shape, so we want to try and attack that one as quickly as we can.
We've had some communication on that one lately.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, we want to finance another project that's close to the city. It's in the county right now, but it's close and it serves many purposes. It connects Williston Road to Archer Road, and that would be Southwest 62nd Avenue and Southwest 63rd Boulevard. So that's one roadway that turns into a different name as well. So that one we'd like to go ahead and add our paved shoulders to it as well. So those are the projects we want to start with right away. We have a couple other projects waiting in the wings until we can get funding for them using that nickel gas tax.
Right.
That would be Northwest 43rd Street. That takes us from around Newberry Road up to Millhopper or 53rd Avenue. Mm-hmm. And the final project is a pretty large connecting project that takes you from Newberry to Alachua. That would be County Road 235.
That's an amazing number of projects, and there was a time where there was kind of a dry spell, wasn't there? I don't know, I forget exactly what the year was where this county commission really started making a commitment to getting some of these road maintenance projects done, but there was quite a long period where there wasn't much done at all, wasn't there?
Right, there was only maybe one project every 1 to 2 years. Mm-hmm. So it was relatively, as the money trickled in, they saved it up and they did a project.
Right.
And in 2005, we came to the commission and they really helped out because they really put the pennies together and scraped up a lot of money for us to be able to go out and do some good.
Now, another project, and I don't know that this is gas tax funded, but you can enlighten me. I know we've had a number of our unpaved roads that have recently gotten a surface treatment, and I know it's different than, a major road, but can you tell us a little bit about that program?
Certainly. Our Unpaved Roads surface treatment program came about. It took about 2 years to go through the process of developing a prioritization methodology and looking at our unpaved roads. We really wanted to find a program that would help us with our maintenance. It would reduce our cost of maintenance. Now, if we can get a better surface than lime rock for some of these roadways at a lower rate, that's what we were looking for, and this program actually hits the mark very well. That program actually was funded also with the local option gas tax, a very small portion of it. So again, we're getting a good return on our investment from that local option gas tax.
Let me make sure I understand this. So you take some gas tax money that would be spent to maintain these lime rock roads, and you take those revenues and kind of mix them together to put down a surface that doesn't require all the maintenance that a lime rock
What we were trying to
road
do
needs.
is, that's correct, we're trying to defer what we currently do. If we're spending so much on grading per month, we go out there and we do a motor grader operator and we have to bring in lime rock every month and try to keep up with the grading. At some point, the volumes on those roadways, you can't keep up. So we're looking for a surface that's more durable. Now that surface, with us, our contracting crews, our crews can do that work. They are able to go out there and put that surface down using that nickel gas tax, which is we're then able to take those funding, the funding that we use for the maintenance,
right,
to help with the other projects.
And how was it determined how many miles of unpaved road do we
currently have 240 unimproved roads.
And how was it
unpaved.
Determined which of those roads would receive this treatment?
We did a prioritization methodology that included around 7 features, and the predominant feature was cost.
Right.
We looked at the life cycle cost for maintenance, and if it did not, if the surface treatment was more expensive than what we currently do, it did not make the list.
I see.
Now, if it was less expensive, then we looked at other parameters like safety, if a school bus was on the route, if we had crashes, for dust and things like that. So we brought all that in.
And obviously, the relationship between roads that needed more maintenance and roads that had more cars traveling on them was probably a pretty obvious relationship.
It still took quite a bit of time to go through each of the projects, but
Right.
yes, there were some obvious ones that should have been on the list.
Right. And the county commission was involved, I understand, in the priority
Absolutely.
list.
They led the way, and we were making sure that we kept up with them. They really wanted a project list and a program that worked well for this community.
Right. Dave, I know that you and the folks out at Public Works have put a lot of time and effort into a commission request to kind of get an update on the pavement management program, and the result of that is this really nice, heavy report on roads. Tell me a little bit about this.
Well, this one, we took to heart what the board was looking for, and we did a full 6-month evaluation on all of our paved roads. We took and looked at condition, we looked at a lot more than that. We looked at the corridor in itself, whether it had sidewalks and whether it had good stormwater facilities and overhead utility lines. We wanted to do a complete investigation of what our current infrastructure looked like. And then we took that information, we compared it to where we were in 2005. And we really wanted to see whether we were making any progress since then. And we realized that we were making some progress, but we did not make enough to maintain our status quo.
Right.
So we were able to pull together some information. We brought in some options for how we might be able to reduce the backlog or defer maintenance. We gave those options for our commissioners to take a look at. Mm-hmm. And we then brought out some real key points and some conclusions that should help our commissioners make some good quality decisions as we move forward. But certainly it's a good document that can be used for public consumption. Anyone wants to learn a little bit more about the county's infrastructure and where we are, it has quite a bit of good information in it.
Well, we will certainly get the word out to citizens about where they can access this document, and yeah, it's an impressive piece.
All right, thank you.
And if we got nothing out of this today but the fact that we do not have the highest gas tax in the state of Florida. Gas tax is a user fee that pays for the roads that people drive on, and it is not why you can drive across the county line to Marion County and get gas cheaper than you can in Alachua County. Those are all accurate statements, are they not?
That's correct.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Dave, so much.
No problem.